What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we are going to be talking about the Glock 43x, the new Glock, versus the Sig P365. Basically, the two most popular guns from the past 2 years. The Sig being the most popular new gun of 2018, and the Glock 43 already most likely the most popular gun of 2019. Before we get started, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. Because of all my supporters, I do a monthly giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a supporter. I also want to mention ammo.com. They're support of the channel. There's a link in the description for $20 off an order of $200 or more. Also, I want to mention my Instagram. I want to get my Instagram followers up. We do lots of new content over there. If you want to see guns before they hit the table, the only way to do that is either be a patron or be an Instagram follower. The Glock 43x is a single stack 9mm pistol. It's striker fired, has a polymer frame, and it holds 10 rounds in a flush fit mag, but obviously you can get magazine extensions just like the 365. The weight on an empty mag is about 18 ounces, and it has a 3.5 inch barrel with a silver NPVD coating on the slide, making it a little bit unique in comparison to normal Glocks. Glock kind of figured out they had a lot of success with the 45 and the Glock 19x by simply just making the grip longer on an already very popular gun, whether that be for a better draw or whether that be for bigger hands. They decided to do that with another high-selling gun with the 43. Accuracy by volume. The Sig 365 has a little bit more innovation to it. They have a new staggered magazine that allows it to also carry 10 rounds of 9mm, but in a smaller package. The 365 also has a polymer frame. It also weighs 18 ounces, although the barrel is a little bit shorter at 3.1, and it's also a little bit shorter overall, height-wise, at 4.3. The Glock is at 5 inches. So the real difference between the two is going to be the size, not the weight. They're equal weight, but it's going to be about an inch shorter with the same amount of magazine capacity, making it a little bit easier to carry because the grip is the part that prints the most. So what would you use either of these two guns for? Obviously, you would use them for concealed carry. As you see here on the table, if I were to compare these two side by side up close, the Glock clearly looks bigger. But if I were to compare them to what I would consider a compact size gun, the Beretta PX4 Storm here, they both look very small, and they shoot like it as well. They're not going to shoot like an STI 2011. They're going to shoot like smaller guns, which is what you're going to have to deal with a concealed carry gun. You're trying to figure out what's the best size, what's a gun you can still shoot accurately and reliably and quick enough with, while still maintaining a small enough overall size and weight that you can carry it comfortably throughout the day. And this is Glock's version of how to do that particular idea, and this is Sig's version. And we're going to talk about the differences in these two pistols today to help you maybe decide which one you'd like to get or to confirm which one of your purchases if you've already chose one. The good news about these modern concealed carry pistols is that they are an appropriate caliber, 9mm, and they do hold 10 rounds, and they are a little bit more shootable than some other guns that are very small concealed carry guns, so they can flex into a home defense type of situation. So if you're looking for a really small gun that you can also use for everything, just one gun, both of these can be a pretty good choice. Now, we're going to compare these guns. Let's talk about the most important and debated category, and we'll get that one out of the way first. We're going to be talking about reliability and durability. And in this, I'm going to have to lean towards the Glock. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say that I'm a Glock fanboy and all that stuff, but hear me out here. The 365s are mostly reliable. There has been tons of reports online and tons of reports in my comment section. I've got many messages talking about how their Sig P365s don't work and how that Sig kind of pawned them off for a little bit and didn't answer their questions, didn't fix their guns, and on it goes. But the problem with that is this is a new design, and you're going to have issues. You know, in the past, when Glock have changed up their design, they've had issues. The good news is about the 43 is it's essentially the same gun with a longer grip, and the 43 has had a 3 or 4 year vetting process where they've worked out all the kinks. So the likelihood of you having an issue from the factory with the Glock 43, especially considering Glock's pretty well-known track record, is much less likely, in my opinion, than the 365. Now, the 365, the newer models, have had less problems. They've reinforced the striker. One of the issues they were having was firing pin breaking, and they've reinforced the firing pins, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. They do have some spring issues still. I'm not sure if they've worked that out or not. I have the makings of some issues on this pistol. If you want to get in further depth than that, you can check out the full review. But honestly, I haven't had any problems at all. I've shot over 1,000 rounds for this pistol, and I've had no issues whatsoever with multiple types of ammunition. So if you are absolutely concerned about reliability, the Glock 43 really is the choice for those type of people. But if you think it's going to be fine and you think it's really unlikely, and which it is, because I mean honestly, 1,000 rounds with no malfunctions, that's pretty good for me. The Sig is kind of on the edge of innovation with this pistol, and every time you innovate, you're going to have a little bit of issues. And Glock is on the 4th or 5th gen of their normal pistols now. They've been out a long time. It's an action that has seen a lot of experience and a lot of tweaks, whereas the Sig, in a couple of years, I'm sure will be just as reliable and you won't have any problems whatsoever. Now we'll get into accuracy. I would say it is a tie. I would say that the size and the ability to hold the pistol a little bit better, at least for me, the 43X in theory would be much better to shoot. The problem with that is Glock classically has shitty sights and a shitty trigger. It's just the way it is. So if you want to make this gun more accurate than the Sig, you can. But right out from the box, I would say they're equal, if not maybe a slight edge to the 365. Even though it's a smaller gun, it does come with substantially better sights. These are pretty impressive sights from the factory. I did mention that in my full review. Maybe the best sights of any small pistol I've ever seen. Night sights, that green is very easy to pick up, and the trigger on the 365 is pretty excellent for a small pistol. It's not overly light, which you wouldn't want either, especially if it was pointed towards your junk, but it's light enough to where you can make an accurate shot, and the reset on it is pretty good as well. From a stock pistol this small, that's pretty impressive. The Glock, however, being a slightly bigger gun, the trigger isn't bad. Kind of similar, maybe a little bit heavier, maybe a little bit grittier than the Sig, but as you can see, I have replaced the sights because the original stock sights in the 43X are terrible. You can get a pair of Ameriglow sights like this, somewhere between $50 and $100, and honestly, if you're going to get a Glock and you're going to shoot it a lot, I would really recommend you changing the sights. It is a huge detriment to your accuracy. Yeah, I have to say the 365 is just a little bit more accurate. Now we're going to get into speed, which is a category I would consider more important than accuracy, at least accuracy at speed. And for that, I have to give it to the Glock. Many people make a huge deal out of accuracy, like the bad guy is just going to be hanging out at 50 yards eating a hero sandwich. That's not really the case. Most of the time when you're shooting in a concealed carry situation, which is what we're talking about here with these particular pistols, it's up close, it's fast, it's dirty, and most of the time there's a lot of grappling and fighting involved. So when I include the speed category, I'm also talking about the speed of draw. And this is where the 43X, I think, is really designed well, because it has the same footprint as the 43 as far as barrel and slide and things like that, but it does have a longer grip, and what that allows you to do is more consistently draw the pistol under stress. And I promise you, if you're in a situation where you have to draw your pistol in a public situation, you're going to be stressed. So it's going to be easier to grab this longer grip, and it's going to be easier to shoot with this longer grip as well, especially fast, because you have more to leverage and hold that pistol down under recoil. The texture is very good on the 365, but it's also really small. The grip on the 365, this is an awesome innovation. But if it were me, I would like the grip a little bit bigger and a little bit larger, and then have like 13 or 14 rounds. That would be really nice for me. The grip on the 43X is about as small as I can comfortably shoot. If you're a 5'2", 100-pound type of person, then maybe the 365 is going to be more comfortable and it's going to be easier to draw and carry. So pros for the Sig are going to have to go with the texture is a lot better, the trigger is a lot better, the sights are a lot better. It's smaller, it's a smaller overall size, not weight, but size, and it's going to hold more rounds. So if you want to have a grip that has an extension, you're going to end up getting more rounds for the same size as you are with the Glock. That's pretty cool in my opinion. The slide serrations are usable, although on a small gun it doesn't really matter that much. The controls are blended really well. As you can see, the mag release, I really like the mag release on the 365. They did a lot of cool stuff with this particular gun. On the Glock, you're going to get a lot more aftermarket support, whatever trigger you want, whatever sights you want, stipple jobs. I've already seen people doing slide packages for the 43X. You can probably do that with a Sig too. The problem with it though is you're going to need some of those upgrades. I really think to make this gun what it should have been from the factory, you're definitely going to need those sights. Trigger job, I probably wouldn't do on a carry gun, but I am eventually going to do a stipple job on this. On my 48, I already have grip tape on it. And you can just use that. That's like $1. I cut that out of a bunch of skateboard tape. It just takes some time, you know, arts and crafts kind of deal. But for the Glock, I would consider the speed of draw, the speed of shooting, and the reliability to be slightly better than the 365. As far as price goes, the 365 is actually a little bit more expensive, at least from my search. I found the Sig somewhere between $500 and $550, and I actually found the 43X somewhere between $400 and $450. I imagine since it just came out, that's actually going to get lower. The Sig's been out about a year. A year from now, there might be a substantial difference between the price. And I'm kind of surprised about that, considering they're similar quality guns that do similar things. So the price difference, to me, leans me toward the 43X for most people. The fact that it's easier to shoot, which I think is more important, the fact that it's slightly more reliable and durable, I think that's more important, and mostly, for me at least, it's easier to draw. And that would be the big difference between these two for me. When I go out and I train, drawing the gun is probably the most important thing out of having a gun at all. Most people say reliability, and I do a lot too, but if the gun doesn't get out of the holster, it doesn't really matter how reliable it is. So if you're fishing for the gun and you can't get it out while a guy's stabbing you or beating you with a fire extinguisher or whatever it may be, rubber chicken, who knows. But I think drawing the gun and shooting the gun effectively close in, the 43X is just going to dominate. But that's me, that's my personal opinion. If you think you can grab the 365 and shoot it effectively, and you're comfortable with some of the parts breakages, then absolutely go for this gun. I mean, the likelihood of you having to draw it, the likelihood of you carrying it all day, every day, well, that's just going to happen. So the 365 might be the better option. If it comes down to this is just slightly more comfortable and you're going to carry this, you're not going to carry this, well, by all means, go for the 365. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. Oh boy, I might have messed up here. That target's hard to see. Pretty good for not being able to see it. Kind of get my sight picture, know where it is, raise my sights up to it, and because of the fog, the target kind of disappears, and I'm just kind of pulling the trigger, keep my eye on the sights, kind of shooting where I think he is.